Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be trying out Colourpop's brand new collection. I just received this in PR. It's their new Wild Nothing collection. Here's the little card. I am very excited about this. I don't know what it is about Colourpop recently, but somehow they've been making me giddy over basically every launch, and the same thing happened with this collection. I'm very excited to try everything. We're just going to get right into it. So they have a new eyeshadow palette. It's the Wild Nothing pressed powder palette. Let me open it up for you guys so you can see it. So this whole collection is kind of like desert inspired. I think that's a really cute theme for a collection. Here's what the inside of the palette looks like. So it's a good neutral palette. There is a pop of green right here, which is kind of fun. I think there's two Super Shock formulas. There's some mattes, there's also some metallics, and the packaging is just so cute. The text is raised on here. It has a really nice texture. I'm into those little things. I noticed those things on packaging, and so I really like what they did with the texture on that package. Okay, the next thing that's sitting in front of me that I think I'm probably the most excited about because it's a new formula. It's this right here. It's the Cactus Blossoms Luxe Lip Oil set. So the Luxe Lip Oils are a new formula. I'm obsessed with lip oils. You guys probably know if you've watched several of my videos, like the Bobbi Brown oil infused lip tints are seriously some of my very favorites. I also love the lip oils from NARS. I'm just a lip oil fanatic. I just really love it, especially in the summertime. Well, no, I love them all year round. I just love hydrating, easy to wear formula, so I'm hoping that these live up to my expectations. I'm very excited about that. We also have 3 blushes, and if you guys don't know, blush is also one of my favorite products, so I'm excited to try those. We will go ahead and swatch them and try them on when I get to them. But here's a little sneak peek of the packaging, and then here's one of the colors. This one's the shade On the Horizon. There's 2 other shades too, but I will show you guys the other 2 shades when we get to applying blush. There's also a new formula of eyeshadow. They have cream eyeshadows, which is really cool. They launched 4 different shades, and I guess I will also show you guys these when I apply them. And then we have 2 Jelly Munch eyeshadows, which are actually some of my favorite formulas from Colourpop. I'm excited to try these 2 new shades out. You guys know how I am with glitter on the eyes, and these are usually very, very glittery and very beautiful. So let's just get right into it. We are actually going to start off with a cream shadow. The unicorn is so cute on these. So again, there's 4 shades. I'm just gonna open them all up and then I will show you the inside. Okay, so these cream shadows are all neutral shades for this collection. Here's the range so you can kind of see what we're working with, and then I'll show you one by one. The tops have these really pretty golden prints on them, and then we'll go from lightest to deepest. So the first shade we have is called Bronco, which is just like this kind of yellow toned beige color, which I think would be really nice as an eyeshadow base before going into eyeshadow. That's actually how I'm going to use them today. We also have this one right here, which is called Laurel. This is beautiful. I'm actually really excited about this shade. I could see myself wearing this all over the lid on its own. Next up, we have the shade Camouflage, which is a little bit more of like a medium toned neutral brown. And last but not least, we have Moonbeam, which is a little bit of a deeper brown. This one seems to be a little bit more warm toned. All 4 of these are matte, by the way, so there's no shimmer in any of them. I'm trying to debate on whether I would like to use Bronco or Laurel as my base. Maybe since we're using a powder shadow palette, I should probably go with Bronco just to create a nice clean canvas. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and take this on a brush, and I'm just gonna start to apply this all over the eyelid. I did do my brows off camera. Today I used this pencil right here. This is from Oma Beauty, and it is the Baby Hair Brow Pencil. Okay, so I applied the initial product with the brush, and then I'm just taking my finger and kind of pressing that down just to get rid of any excess product and to kind of smooth out any brush lines. Okay, I'm gonna do the same thing on this eye. So this formula seems to be blending out pretty nicely. I feel like I would have preferred a color that was a little bit more on the pink side. This is looking pretty yellow toned against my skin tone, but that's just me and my personal preference. Ultimately, I guess we're gonna try it for the formula, not so much the color, because there are other shades, but I guess I just have like using this as a shadow base in mind, and if I were to use it as a shadow base, I personally would have preferred something a little bit more like neutral, not so warm, but again, that's just me. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and go into the Wild Nothing eyeshadow palette. Before I go into that, I realized I forgot to tell you the price of these. So each of these cream shadows are $8 a pop, and then we have the Wild Nothing eyeshadow palette, which is a 12 pan palette. This retails for $18, which I think is the standard price for all of their 12 pan palettes. Okay, we're gonna start with the shade Top Down, which is a matte. Kind of looks like a peachy pink matte shade. I'm gonna start to work that into the crease. The cream shadow has a little bit of tackiness to it, but it's also drying down a bit as well. But it didn't leave like a completely powdery surface, kind of similar to the finish that the NARS eyeshadow bases give. I feel like they dry down and they are pretty powdery to where it helps the powder shadows blend out on top, but you still get a tackiness, so the eyeshadow sticks as well, like it adheres a little bit better. All right, I'm just layering this in the crease, kind of buffing it up and out. I feel like the neutral palettes from Colourpop always end up being my favorite. Even though I feel like sometimes the colors can seem redundant, I don't know why I still am gravitated toward neutral palettes. And this is kind of the same thing, like this palette is so inspiring to me, but I bet you I already have all these colors, you know? I'm still really excited to create a look with this though. And I'm loving how this shade is blending out. As a transition, it's perfect. Next, I'm going to dip into this shade right here called Vagabond, and it's like a matte neutral brown. I'm going to go ahead and start building this up on the outer portion of the lid, blending it into the crease as well once there's less on the brush. Next, I'm going to take this shade Come Together, which is one of my favorites in the palette, just based off of looking at the palette and the color scheme. I'm just going to layer that actually right on top, because I want this to be a little bit deeper than where it is now. I would wear this shade like all over the lid for every day and then just pop on some mascara. I think that would be so pretty. I was debating whether or not I should wear a sweater today because this collection is obviously like desert inspired, but you guys, in all honesty, I am cold all day long. I don't really go outside these days, so I honestly am still wearing like my sweatshirts and my sweatpants and socks. So I'm sorry if this is confusing to some of you who are, you know, in very warm climates and I'm wearing a sweater in July. It is what it is, you know? Next, I'm going to go into this shade right here. This is called Alcove. And I'm just going to take this on my finger. And I'm going to apply this in the center of the lid. This is really pretty. It's just like a peachy shimmer. And then I don't know if this is going to look pretty or not, but I really wanted to try out this shade called Seashells because it's so unique. It's like a green, but it's a very light green. I'm going to go ahead and apply this. Whoa. Whoa, it got quite a bit on my finger and it's way more intense than I was anticipating. I'm just applying this to the inner portion of the lid, blending it up into that pink shade. That's really pretty. I actually don't think that I own a color quite like this one. I'm taking a little bit of that same shade on a flat brush and I'm just kind of carving out the edge so it's a nice and clean shape. I'm going back in with the brush that we used with the Come Together shade, which was that mauve shade that I kind of applied on the outer corner, and I'm just adding even more depth to the outer edge of the eye. Let's go ahead and look at the Jelly Much eyeshadows. So here's the unicorn. This is so cute. Again, they released two shades. We have kind of a rose gold called Mystical and then a champagne called Mojave. I'm just going to take some of the shadow that's on the lid and I'm going to swatch it so that you guys can see the difference. The only con about these Jelly Much shadows, and honestly, I feel like it depends on the color that you get, so I'm not sure how it will work with these two shades, but I've noticed that they dry out really, really fast if you're not careful about closing the lid tightly, and don't throw this away. Like, keep it on, close the lid tightly right after using it, and they should last pretty long, but again, it just kind of depends on the shadow. At least that's what I've experienced in the past. So again, this is Mystical. This is a really pretty, like, rose gold. Maybe you can see it better there. So reflective and so glittery and pretty. I really like that one. I do like how the lids are a little bit bigger on this. They didn't used to be like that, I don't think. So maybe that's part of trying to prevent these from drying out. Hopefully that will help it. Let's go ahead and swatch the shade Mojave. Oh my, I'm like immediately drawn to this one. I kind of swatched a lot. I didn't mean to pick up that much. This one's more of a champagne. Hopefully you can see it from way back there, but look how reflective that is. That's beautiful. I think I want to use this on my eye, so I'm just going to take some of that that's left on the finger and I'm just going to press this onto the lid right over top of that green shade we applied. Okay, well, I actually really like that Jelly Much eyeshadow. I think it added something special to the eye look. So far so good on that. I'm gonna go ahead and apply some Top Lash mascara now. I'm gonna be using the Urban Decay Lash Freak mascara. There have been a few new mascaras that have launched recently and I've been trying to test them all out so I can get back to you on which ones I end up really liking. This Lash Freak mascara is so interesting. The applicator is very unique, but I've tried it a couple times and I really do like it so far. So I'm just gonna go ahead and apply this to the top lashes. Okay, now that mascara is on the top lashes, I'm gonna go ahead and clean up any fallout underneath the eyes. There's not that much fallout from the eyeshadow palette itself because they were pretty subtle colors, but sometimes the Jelly Matte shadows do leave a little bit of glitter behind. I'm trying to get rid of all the glitter that's on my fingers too from swatching. All right, we're gonna move on to complexion. I'm wanting to use the Laneige Glowy Makeup Serum as my base or as my primer today. So I just put a little bit of that on the skin and I'm just gonna blend this out with my fingers. Next, we're gonna go ahead and put foundation on. I'm gonna go in with my Colourpop Pretty Fresh foundation. And I've been mixing 2 shades that they sent me, but they also sent like little sample sizes of the full range. So I will have my best match listed down below. I've been loving this foundation though. I literally have not stopped wearing it since I tried it, and I kind of mentioned this in the last video that I used this, and I put it in the description box notes, but in case you didn't see that video, when I first tried this out, I had mentioned that it kind of settled around the nose right here. So the second time I tried it, I put less product there and it worked beautifully. So just a little tip if you find that that happens to you as well. Just consciously apply way less product around the areas that are creasing and it should help. Okay, I'm going to take what's left on the back of my hand with a sponge. I'm going to press that into the skin. And I still want coverage around the nose, so I'll just take what's left on the sponge and do that rather than applying the initial foundation in that area. And that has been helping so much. I'm going to use a little bit of the Colourpop Pretty Fresh Concealer. I'm using the shade Fair 20N. And I'm just applying this under the eyes today. I feel like the foundation evens out my skin so nicely that I don't need to put concealer over blemishes. At least not today. So we're just going to blend this out under the eyes with my sponge. Next, I'm going to set my face with my Thrive Cosmetics Filtered Effects Soft Focus HD Powder. I'm kind of focusing that powder under the eyes and through the T-zone. I've been enjoying using this powder with this foundation and concealer because this powder actually has hyaluronic acid in it too. So I don't know, I just feel like they wear really well together and they feel hydrated, you know, they don't feel too heavy on the skin. All right, now I'm just going to finish up the lower lash line. I'm going to take the shade Top Down, which was the shade we used on the top lid as a transition. I actually really like this color. It's actually a pretty subtle color, but it's also somehow not bold, but like maybe it's because of the tone of it. It looks like more of a colorful shadow, but it's a very toned down color. I don't know if that's making any sense. Like I feel if people saw this eyeshadow on me, it would be noticeable, like the pink tone in it, but it's not overpowering. Next, I'm just going to take the mauve shade called Come Together. I'm just going to use the same brush with this. And this time I'm only focusing this on the outer third of the lower lash line. Next, I'm going to take the Alcove shade that we used on the lid. I'm going to take this on the brush and then I'm going to spray it with my Colourpop setting spray. And I'm going to apply that just in the center. And then I'm going to take the same brush and do the same thing with the green shade, making sure to kind of get the brush damp. This time I'm tapping off the excess onto the back of my hand so that there's no fallout. And I'm going to apply that in the inner corner of the lower lash line. I'm taking a larger brush. This is the one that we actually used on the top lid. And I'm just blending that out a little bit right underneath. I didn't add any extra product though. Next, I'm going to take my Colourpop Cream Gel Liner in the shade Honey Dude. And I'm just lining the waterline with that. And then I'm just going to take that same Urban Decay mascara and I'm going to apply that on the lower lashes. Okay, next I'm going to warm up the complexion. I forgot to grab a bronzer, so I'm just going to use the one that I had on my desk. This is from Pure Cosmetics. It's the Bronzing Act Bronzer in the shade Light. I'm just going to warm up the complexion with this, just going into the hairline and then under the cheeks a little bit, along the jawline, and also down the neck. Okay, I'm just wiping off any foundation on the lips. Next, we're going to move on to blushes. So again, they launched 3 blushes. I love blush, and I was actually really excited about these when I saw the colors on Instagram. I genuinely feel like I'm going to get good use out of all 3 shades. Let's hope that they live up to my expectations. Okay, so we have this shade right here. This is called Crossroads. Again, here's the packaging. I love the packaging. The pan seems to be a lot bigger than their other blushes that I've tried or owned. Let me swatch this one first. I'm going to kind of build it up. It's not this intense coming straight out of the pan, and that's what I look for actually in a blush. I like blushes that you can kind of build up the formula and it's not going to be so pigmented right off the bat. So this one's a really pretty kind of toasted peach in a way. And it seems to me that there's a little bit of a golden shimmer in there as well, if you can see that. So again, that's the shade Crossroads. Let's see what the next one is. Next, we're gonna swatch the shade Wayfarer, which is this. It's a little bit of a lighter peach color. This one looks so pretty. Again, I'm gonna build this up a little bit so that you can kind of see its full potential, but you know, again, you don't have to wear it this intense. Here it is next to the first shade. So again, that is Wayfarer. It's a little bit more of just a peach. This one, it does have a little shimmer in it, but I would say that it's more matte than the first one, definitely. All right, last but not least, we have the shade On the Horizon, and this is the pink. I'm excited about this one. Let me swatch this. This one's definitely more of a cool toned pink, but I really like that as well. This one seems like it's the same finish as that second one, Wayfarer. These two seem very similar. I see a little bit of shimmer in it, but it's nothing crazy. That first shade definitely was the one that has a lot more of like an obvious visible glow to it. I'm trying to figure out which one I want to do. I think I might layer these two. The only thing is I have a hard time opening these types of packaging. They've done this before on something else. I can't remember what. And I feel like I always have a hard time opening these types of packaging. Okay, I'm going to go into the shade Wayfarer, which is that pretty peach. I'm going to focus this more on the back portion of the cheeks because I am layering up 2 blushes today. I'm just going to go ahead and kind of smile and apply that right here. Ooh, yes, this formula is so nice. I could tell by swatching it, but again, this is kind of what I look for in a blush formula. I want something that's going to be buildable. This is pretty. I could see a lot of people wearing this shade, especially if you're somebody who gets a little bit scared of blush or doesn't like blush. I know a lot of people that think blush is going to make them look like a clown, and honestly it just depends on the formula, how you apply it, and the color obviously. And I could see this being a lot of people's favorite everyday blush just because that was so easy to apply. It gives you the right amount of color, but it's not overpowering or distracting. I'm gonna go ahead and layer up the pink shade because I personally love a good pop of pink on the cheeks, and I'm gonna layer this on the front of the cheeks, a little bit higher up as well, and maybe some across the nose. Ooh, I really love those 2 shades together. I think that's so nice. I'm gonna go in with my powder brush and just go along the edges to make sure everything is blended. I didn't add any more powder to this. I'm just kind of buffing it out. I need highlighter. Did I not bring a highlighter over here? Okay, I guess I didn't. I'm gonna go grab a highlighter really quick and then we'll move on to trying the lip oils, which I'm so excited about. All right, I grabbed my Essence Pure Nude highlighter. I'm just gonna quickly apply this to the high points of the face. Okay, now let's move on to trying out the new Luxe lip oils. Now this is a set, but they do sell these separately. Oh my gosh, I realized I haven't been telling you the prices of things as I go along. We're gonna backtrack a little bit. The Jelly Mutt shadows are $8. The blushes are $10. And then this lip oil kit is $38, but each individual shade is also $8. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and try all these shades. I'm so excited. The packaging is so cute on this. So this is a clear one. This is called Dewdrop. I'm gonna go ahead and apply this. Ooh, these feel so nice. These are like really cushiony on the lips. It feels more like a lip balm. But then when I rub my lips together, it almost feels like it's gonna have a stick to it, almost like a gloss would. And then it doesn't stick together. I really like that. Okay, so there's the clear shade. The next lightest shade is this one right here called Skinny Dip. So let's see what that one looks like. Ooh, this is pretty too. They give just a subtle tint of color, which is perfect for every day, you know? They feel so similar to my Bobbi Brown ones. I'm gonna have to like wear those one after another to see how similar they actually are. But there's Skinny Dip. This is really pretty. I could see myself keeping that one in my purse for every day. The next deepest shade is this right here. This one is called Playa Vista. This one looks like a little bit more of a rosy tone. And you can build them up actually. I just added a little bit more and it added a bit more pigment. Wow, that feels really good on the lips. I like this color. Again, this is Playa Vista. The next deepest shade is this right here. This is called Hot Shot. This one looks pretty too. This one's a little bit more of a terracotta shade, but they're so sheer that it really comes off so nicely and really wearable. Even if it looks a little bit more intense in the actual tube, but when you apply it, that's so wearable. It's a very, very sheer formula. Let me see if I can build this one up a little bit too. Yeah, so it seems like you can build it up a little bit. That one's really nice as well. Again, this is Hot Shot. And then we do have one bright color. This one right here called Bengal. This looks pretty. I'm really excited to try this. This is so familiar. I'm trying to figure out if it reminds me exactly of the NARS lip oils or my Bobbi Brown ones. It's so similar. I'm gonna build this up a little more. That's really pretty as well. I actually like that pink undertone. Ooh, I'm excited about these. This is my kind of lip product. Since we're going a little bit more glam with this look, I know it's pretty subtle, but it's a little bit more glam. I'm gonna use a lip liner. I'm gonna go ahead and use my Alamar Cosmetics lip liner in the shade Birthday Suit, just to line and fill in the lips for a little bit of a base. And then I think I wanna use the shade Skinny Dip. I'm just gonna layer that right on top. It feels so nice on the lips, almost like a lip balm would. Okay, I'm just gonna step back, assess the situation, and add a little bit more blush with what's left on the brush. I'm also adding a tiny bit more bronzer. I'm gonna brush off any mascara marks. And then I'm gonna set the face with my Colourpop Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Acid Mist. Focusing on the outsides of the face. And then once that is almost dry, as always, I like to take my sponge and just press everything back down into the skin. And then I'm gonna set the brows with my M Cosmetics Micro Fluff Brow Cream. I almost forgot an inner corner highlight. I'm gonna take this Super Shock shadow in the palette called Sultan on just a little brush. And I'm going to apply that right in the inner corner of the eye. Okay, so this is the final look that I created using this new collection. Let's go ahead and talk really quickly about my first impressions on each product. Starting with the cream eyeshadows, honestly, I'm gonna have to get back to you guys when I use the other colors. I think the eyeshadows applied really beautifully on top, and I will also leave a note down below letting you know if the cream shadow helped prevent any creasing, if I notice any difference, you know, compared to my other eyeshadow primers. So I'll be sure to leave that in the description box. However, this Bronco shade was a little bit too yellow tone for me personally for an all over eye base, so I don't feel like I will reach for it because of that, but I could see myself reaching for one of these other colors and maybe even wearing them on their own. So I'm gonna have to try that. I will get back to you. I'm excited about this cream shadow formula from Colourpop, especially if it's gonna help with the longevity of my eyeshadow. So I like the color selection, but again, I'll keep you posted on the formula. The actual eyeshadow palette, I think this is such a pretty palette. I honestly feel like this would be perfect for anyone starting out in makeup, and also something that kind of surprised me about it was how subtle it ended up being. Not that it's not pigmented, just the whole color scheme in general is very, very soft. And it's a little bit more ethereal than what I initially thought. I'm not against that idea. You guys know how I feel about ethereal makeup looks. This whole vibe is very much me, but this palette is going to give you very soft and natural eye looks. I guess you could deepen it up with this one shade right here, but overall you're gonna get something very subtle, but in a good way. So if you're somebody who likes that kind of a look, or if you're not very familiar with eyeshadows and you don't wanna really dip into anything that's gonna be too complicated or complex to blend out or blend together, this might be a really good place to start. If you're somebody like me and you own a lot of eyeshadow palettes, you might already own a lot of these colors, and in that case, just look through your collection to see if you have any duplicates, but overall it's a good palette. I do really like it. I'm not sure how much I will reach for it over my other neutral palettes, but I can't lie, I love the eye look that I created. It's very soft, but still different in a way, I think because of like the pink transition. It's kind of picking up on camera, but in person especially, or in my mirror, I can see in front of me. There's something special about it, but it's not too loud. So I like that about this. Love the packaging, love the theme. Moving on to the Jelly Much eyeshadows, I definitely feel like this is part of what makes this eye look feel and look so special. So I'm excited to continue to use these. I will keep you guys posted on whether these dry out faster or not. I think the updated packaging, at least I haven't ever seen the Jelly Much eyeshadow lids come down this far. Maybe I'm lying, but I think that they used to be the same as the Super Shock shadow lids. So I'm hoping that that will keep these from drying out. But I love the Jelly Much eyeshadows. I especially love, what's that shade called? I think it's called like No Rest for the Vivid. I've never seen something more insane than that eyeshadow. So I am a fan of the formula, and I think these colors are beautiful, and they're colors that I feel like you could pair with any eyeshadow palette, especially this champagne shade right here. You can use this as a topper over everything, and then this more rose gold shade obviously is very wearable as well. So I am really excited about those. The blushes actually shocked me because, I mean, I knew I was excited about the blushes, but sometimes you just don't know until you try them. But this shade right here especially, what is it called? Wayfarer? Holy smokes, this is such a beautiful color. I'm obsessed with how it applied all over the cheeks. I think this is gonna be probably one of my new go-to everyday shades. It's stunning. The Crossroads shade I'm gonna have to try later. I'm not sure if this will be too deep for my skin tone or not, but since it is a little bit more of a sheer formula, I bet I can make it work. The On the Horizon shade, which was the pink shade that we tried, is also very beautiful, and I love how that looked. I loved the combo of these two. I think these are so pretty, and these are actually possibly my favorite thing from the collection based off of my first impressions, which I'm a little surprised about. I thought it would be maybe the eyeshadow palette, but I'm actually so excited about the blushes. Last but not least, we have the Luxe lip oils. I think these are beautiful, especially for every day. I'm very excited about the formula. I am going to compare these next to my NARS and my Bobbi Brown. Something is very familiar about these, and I'm trying to figure out which formula it's reminding me more of. Regardless, it's going to give you a similar vibe and effect as those products, and those two products are like my favorites, especially for every day. They live in my purse, so to have a more affordable option that gives you a very similar look and feel is really exciting to me. I'm super pumped about these, and I'm sure they'll come out with more colors just like they have with the Luxe glosses and the Luxe Velvet lip products. You know what I'm talking about? I feel like in the past they've like teased a collection and then they launched a full range shortly after. So I'm hoping that's what happens with these lip oils, because I think a lot of people would enjoy this type of a formula. So yeah, that completes this makeup look. I really enjoyed dipping into this collection. The blushes and the lip oils are definitely the two things that I'm like giddy over. The Jelly Much shadows being the next one, and then the eyeshadow palette being the thing that I feel like would just depend on you and whether or not you're inspired by this palette, or if you feel like it adds to your collection, or if you're a beginner in makeup, maybe you would want to pick this up. So it's a good eyeshadow palette, but again, I'm not sure if it's something that like everybody needs. I don't think it really adds to my collection, but I'm happy that I have it, if that makes sense. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I love how my makeup look turned out. If you're new here, hi, my name is Allie, and I would love for you to join the family. You can do so by hitting the subscribe button. And if you're already a subscriber but you want to be notified on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, click on the bell after you subscribe and you'll get a notification every single time I post. That's it for me today. Let me know in the comments if you guys ended up picking up anything from this collection. I love to know what products you guys are most interested in, because it helps me in the future be able to create more videos using products that you guys either own or are interested in. So let me know if you guys picked up anything from the collection and what you think of it. And yeah, that's it for today. I hope you guys have an amazing day wherever you are, and I will see you in my next video. Love you. Bye.